I was doing a homeschool at the time because when I went to high school, I
Go
switched over to
homeschoolers.
homeschool. Except I made a spelling test for my mom, which she liked. And he said, "Oh, that's actually pretty good. She should think about being a programmer when she grows up."
Hey, Shandy, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for jumping in here and doing a little video call with us. We just wanted to do part of what we call the Getting to Know You series. And so, Shandy, you've been with Bixley for quite some time now, which is super awesome. What's your kind of background and how did you actually get into tech? Let's kind of start there.
Oh, wow. It goes way back. Funny thing, it's actually kind of a weird story, so don't make fun of me. Just joking.
It's okay.
But when I was about 14, I think, I had a friend and we had this silly kind of sci-fi slash drama story that we regularly played. And we were always up adding stuff to the story. And all of our characters worked at a store which was creatively named All You Can Think of Store. And
Okay.
I had found, interestingly enough, I had found a very small little box. It's not really a full article in Cat Fancy magazine
Uh-huh.
talking about making a website for your cats. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I mentioned it to my friend. And then she said, "Oh, do you think we can make a website for our store?" And I thought, well, maybe we can. And so we're kids, we don't have money. So we start Googling how to make a website for kids because we
Okay.
thought if it's for kids, it's going to be free. And she found WebMonkey for kids. And so I got on there, learned HTML. She did all the designing, picking out the colors, picking out the fake little cartoonish items that we put in our catalog. And I did all the HTML coding, which I know, I mean, not technically programming yet, but we're getting there.
Hey, you're getting there. That's a big step.
Yes. And it was fun. I fell in love with it from the start. I had a blast doing that little project. And of course, the little cartoonish stuff wasn't enough for me. So I put this as a fictional site on every page.
Okay.
But after that was done, I went back. I thought, well, let me just check out regular WebMonkey.
Yeah, regular programming.
Yeah. So I went there and I found a tutorial on JavaScript, which I mean, people say good and bad things about JavaScript, but that was actually my first language. I went through that tutorial, played with it, absolutely fell in love with programming.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even thinking about it as a job yet. This was just pure fun.
Yeah.
I was doing a homeschool at the time because when I went to high school, I
Go
switched over to
homeschoolers.
homeschool. Yay.
I was homeschooled if you don't remember. So
Woohoo.
yeah, we turned out okay.
Yes, perfectly normal.
Perfectly normal.
But anyway, I was doing that, and so I had all this extra time because it was high school, so
Yeah.
and it was a self-study program, so no teachers or anything. I just kind of did my schoolwork, and I went through it very rapidly, and so I had all this free time to just code.
Yep.
And granted, it was really silly stuff that didn't really go anywhere, wasn't going to be useful for anyone. Except I made a spelling test for my mom, which she liked, and she showed it to her coworker, who was their IT person, and he said, "Oh, that's actually pretty good. She should think about being a programmer when she grows up." And that was the first thought I ever actually had of doing this for a job, for a career.
So you've now learned, you've had some job experience. How did you get over to Bixley exactly?
Well, with my previous job, it got kind of interesting. By interesting, I mean that in a kind of negative way. As much as I love programming, I like to do other things too. And so I decided to start looking for something else. And then that's when I did a job search and found Bixley. I was excited from the very beginning because I liked, I could tell just from the application process that
we were
something
a little
about the
different.
culture. Yeah, I could tell I already liked the culture. And so I got excited about this one. I applied multiple places, but this was probably the only one that I got really, really excited about. So I filled out the application and sent it.
Nice.
And that's when everything happened from there. So
obviously we hired you. We've been super happy. I mean, it's been quite a few years now that you've been working with us, and you've obviously seen probably lots of changes,
Right.
ebbs and flows with the company a little bit, but even tech in general. So what are some new things, just, real quick, if you have some, that you're really excited about? Like, what new tech are you really excited about, Shandy, that you've seen last couple months, couple days, couple weeks, whatever? What's new and exciting?
Well, it's kind of interesting because if anyone ever asks me, what's your favorite such and such, I can't ever pick one thing. And
Okay.
the same thing, it's the same thing with tech. So the thing that really excites me though is the pattern of that there's always something new. There's always something improving, and the possibilities that opens up. Like one thing that I was thinking back to is way back in the 90s when the internet was new to a lot of people, including
New and
myself.
burgeoning. Yeah.
Yes. And I would go to a website and it would take forever to load. And that was cool. I was perfectly fine with that because that was the expectation. And then now I was helping to test out a website one day and I clicked on a link, and it took by the time a second had passed, I was thinking maybe I didn't click on the link.
Right. Maybe it didn't work. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's actually something that excites me, is that user expectations have changed. And when user expectations change, that means that the challenges that we're going to work on grow. They expect more. And so what we're expected to code increases. The things that are possible to code, because of that same example, if you had a website that took 5 minutes to load, there's no way that you're going to create an application and run it on that website. You would just make a desktop application.
Right.
But now with the technology, how it has improved, just the fact that we can make web applications that are just as good as the desktop ones.
But what are some other things that you are very passionate about? Let's talk about those. When you're not in front of a terminal, what are you doing?
Well, there's a lot of things that I dabble in, but I wouldn't call those passions. But it's fun. I enjoy creativity. So I enjoy drawing. I'm not particularly great at it, but it's fun. And I think having that element of creativity actually makes me a better developer in the long run, because that helps with problem solving. So even though this isn't great, I mean,
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
This is what I did on Saturday.
That's like way better than anything I could ever draw and ever been able to draw.
So yeah, I do that. And then I guess if you want to say what am I passionate about, I ebb and flow between different things over the years, but the one thing that's remained 100% consistent, and I've already mentioned it once, you've already seen a picture of it there. Yes. Cats. I've been a crazy cat person for my entire life. This here is Simon.
Simon?
Yes.
You just have piercing eyes. I don't know whether to run from you in fear or give you my life's fortune. There's so much emotion happening in those eyes. That's awesome. So how many cats do you have again? Because I feel like the number shifts a little bit. Okay.
I have 4. Yes, I had a couple that I lost early 2020, but we know 2020 is kind of like that. But I mean, on the
another year.
Right. On the positive side, those 2 cats had lived very long, happy lives. One lived to be 20, and the other
20?
one, yes, 20. We had him we got him in 2000, and he lived to be 20 years old. Died in March of 2020. Man. And then I think it was March, but might have been February. And then the other one was 17.
I didn't know cats even live that long. That's wild to me.
Yes.
All right. Well, Shandy, this has been super fun. And Simon, I know you're off camera somewhere, but thank you for making an appearance. This has been super fun, Shandy. We greatly obviously appreciate working with you, and it's super fun getting to know you a little bit more. I'm excited to see, like you said, what the future brings, and what kind of challenges Bixley, will face in the future. I'm looking forward to crossing some of those challenges and hurdles and bridges with you as part of the team.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Bixley Tech Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know Shandy a little bit better and her love of cats. She's actually one of our longest standing and most experienced developers, and she is a huge addition to our team. We're so grateful to have her. If you have any questions about what they talked about today, don't be afraid to leave those in the comments section down below. And don't forget to check out our free custom guide. It's actually linked in the description to this video, and that will walk you through the whole process of planning out your whole app idea. If you feel like you're ready to talk about the idea that you have, go ahead and check out our website, bixley.com. There's actually a button there, free app validation meeting, and you actually get to meet with Chris for 60 minutes to talk about your app idea and start strategizing how to execute it. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Bixley Tech Tuesday.